is violence. White silence 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 is violence.
We're live right now. Protest of George Floyd.
Is violence. Is violence. Is violence. Is violence. Is violence. Is violence. Is violence.
White silence is violence. Is violence.
Is violence.
Filming because you've chosen a side?
It's live.
You're live?
Yes, it's live on YouTube. It's live on YouTube right now.
Is violence. 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 Is violence.
How many more?
No more.
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 Copy of that Bugs
No more.
How many more?
No more.
Williamsburg protest on YouTube. George Floyd protest.
No more.
How many more?
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 No more.
Guys,
How many more?
No more.
this
How
what happened to George Floyd.
How many more?
No more.
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 No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
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 So
No
what
justice.
I want you guys to picture, because I want y'all to see Colonial Williamsburg, me and probably some other people see Colonial Williamsburg. I want you guys to, all these buildings that are down here, you know every single one of them was built by the Rockefeller Foundation to preserve colonial history, blah, 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 blah. But I don't see any of these buildings. The only thing real to me about Colonial Williamsburg are the cobblestone streets that are here. What I want y'all to picture, right? Because it's really easy to say no justice, no peace, and it's really, really easy to say I stand with you, right? But the reason we're fighting is because look around you. Look at all this land. Imagine all the empty land that would be here had Rockefeller not have put all these buildings here. Before he chose to put Colonial Williamsburg here in 1619, do y'all know what happened? on May 31st, 1619, the first slaves in Virginia landed in Hampton. They were called the 20 and odd. That's it. They didn't have names, just the 20 and odd. Some of those slaves came here, and they worked this ground. That's what I want you to picture. Because everything else you see is a facade. Everything else you see is a representation of what somebody wants you to think about colonial history in Virginia. They say slavery because it had to happen. But they don't acknowledge that they used us as economy instead of people. Then they build a monument, charge people to come, and don't pay us a dime. I don't even want reparations. I just want to have the ticket sales. You charge $10.50, give me $5.25. Because I did all the work. Well, not me, my people. So that's really what I want y'all to see. I felt the need to temper what you guys see. Because there are white people here that think that there were no slaves on this land because of what it looks like right now. The reason we are here is because our ancestors, and I'll keep saying it until I'm heard, our blood and our bones rest in this land. The reason that it's so rich, the soil is so rich in Virginia that you can grow almost anything, is because of the blood of my ancestors. So I don't want you to at all get disillusioned about the fact that we're fighting for freedom to include the freedom that wasn't had on this land, this very land. They made these buildings look the way that they look now. They were built to look like this. But the reason you know that it's true is because they're currently still digging up our bones right now. And it is an exhibit. You can pay to go see it. The bones of my ancestors.
Who's getting that money?
They are. The Colonial Williamsburg Foundation.
Oh, of course.
Now, I've spoken with the foundation. They know where I stand. They did have an issue with what I said about the foundation yesterday. One of the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation members happens to also be a city council member. So I made a call today. And I explained to him why I stood behind what I said. He now understands. He now understands that Colonial Williamsburg did a piss poor job of representing our place in this country. And to continue to profit off of our history without acknowledging the fight that we are still in is giving an inaccurate representation, because they say Colonial Williamsburg preserves colonial Virginia's history. How is it history, our fight for freedom, if we still in it in 2020? So automatically you come to Colonial Williamsburg and have a skewed representation of what the issue is. You think the fight for justice is over. Then those same people come out into the community. You got your freedom. I saw the reenactment. Well, did everybody that's white go to the reenactments? They don't make everybody go to the reenactment. So some people come here and choose to not hear the truth. If y'all think that I'm about to let anybody tell a half or inaccurate truth about the history of my people, y'all got another thing coming. That will not happen. That will not happen. That sound you hear? You hear them birds? You hear them trees? You know what I hear?
Play.
Yes. I hear them in the fields. I hear their hoes tilling that ground. Under the same sound. Because nobody was here to make a cry for their freedom. That's our job. That's our job. Now we're working on getting Colonial Williamsburg to change their narrative. That's why I said defund Colonial Williamsburg. White people don't need to be coming to Colonial Williamsburg. The South lost the war. What is there to preserve? The South lost the war. We don't have Confederate monuments in New Jersey. We don't have Yankee money until either because it was the ugliest part of American history. So for anybody to want to preserve it makes them a complete idiot. But it also makes them really insensitive. Right? But is insensitivity the right of the unprivileged or the privileged?
Privilege.
Insensitivity is the right of a privileged individual. They have the right to be indifferent, insensitive, right? Funny thing about that is whenever you bring it up, they get sensitive. As I don't understand what that is, but maybe it's not for me to understand. What I do understand is that this is not real. That's why I put that sign right in front of the Capitol sign. It's not real. This is all fake. If I didn't respect the Colonial Williamsburg Foundations and the individuals that are getting paid from it, that don't get paid the full measure of what they're supposed to make, I would stand at the entrance where the tickets are sold every single solitary day and make sure that individuals go see the African American Museum and shame them until they do. What are you doing coming to a colonial area if you don't want to hear about the people who built the colonial era? It wasn't white people. White people didn't build nothing.
They ain't getting their hands dirty.
Oh, they got their hands dirty. They got their hands dirty with stolen labor.
Exactly.
They got their hands very dirty, and their hands are still dirty. They still stink with the filth of what they did 400 years ago, 400 plus years ago. So let me explain something to y'all. There will always be a difference in how black people look at Colonial Williamsburg. That is the Colonial Williamsburg that I want you to imagine. That is why I want your voices to ring. The only reason they're not ringing as they should be are because they're bouncing off of these buildings that are fake. And they are monuments of nothing. They are completely monuments of nothing. Can y'all hear black people? Can y'all hear your people?
Yeah.
Can you hear them?
I can hear something else too.
What's that?
Native Americans being slaughtered to make room for white settlers.
Good.
And they stole that land and then put us on it to work it.
Wow.
Thieves.
Always have been.
Now, what I can't do is get you to stop stealing. I can't get you to stop stealing. Once you a thief, you always a thief. Do y'all agree? Once a liar, always a liar.
I
Once a
disagree.
cheater, always a cheater.
I disagree.
Huh?
I think everyone can change.
This is true.
They just have to prove it.
This is true. Unless you decide to lay down your privilege, that's the difference between you and every other white person out here and every other white person that we're about to go talk to.
Because the lady with the camera earlier. The difference.
Like Miss Camera, yes, Miss
Yeah.
Camera. Y'all, I thank you. Thank y'all. Because y'all already know my revolution will not be televised. Not if you're not going to choose a side. Absolutely not. Negative. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey, no bacon. You will not film my revolution if you do not take a part in my revolution. But I wanted y'all to know the sound that I hear. I wanted you to know that this is not about Colonial Williamsburg as it stands. That is not what this is about for me. My dad is from South Carolina. That state got so many plantations in it, it makes no sense. You go down the street on Route 60 and you'll run into Lee Hall Plantation. Plantations all over this place.
People don't want to learn about slavery there either.
Right. Because it's been reappropriated for something that white people like. At our peril. So these signs, they matter. But the sound y'all are bringing to this movement, the energy that y'all are bringing to this movement, the young, raise your hand if you are under 21. 12. If you're under 12, y'all probably don't have to do it moral parents, but raise your hand if you under 8. Now I'm gonna go the other way, so y'all don't be mad at me because I'm doing it for a reason. Raise your hand if you over 50. Televised his revolution, and he was dying. And what they filmed, they used against him, the FBI and the CIA. Same thing with MLK. I will not let that happen. Because I understand the risk that I assume by doing and saying what I'm doing and saying. But I also understand the risk y'all assume. Now, real quick, anyone that has chosen to film for YouTube, for Williamsburg Action or whatnot, please understand that we have individuals here that are risking their jobs to be here. I didn't even know that. Just like I didn't know there were so many young people out here, there's people out here that should not be on film or camera. Should not be. So what I need you to do is I need you to, first of all, if you are one of those individuals, I need you to get with me. I need you to let me know. So that way I can let people who we have okayed to film, I need them to know, right, to blur your face out. Or to somehow film around you, okay? So what we're going to do, it is a little differently today because it is very humid. I was not feeling well today. Heat got to me a little bit. Yesterday, I probably still hot from yesterday. But also, you know, I don't want to overexhaust you guys, right? So where I will overexhaust you guys is in the very appropriate place. The place y'all want to be. Look at you. She ready? Come here. Come here. Let me tell y'all what this girl did. I mentioned, somebody on our policy team mentioned one thing about one, just very, and please understand, these group chats, I don't know if y'all part of group chat. Look, I mentioned one thing about something. Do y'all know that all I did was mention it? And this lady right here, in the span of 3 days, was able to get me Elaine, Gloria, and Rob Whitman. 3 days. There are things to do in this organization. I promise platform has an agenda. We must go down that agenda. This is the first thing on our agenda. When we get this, we'll move on to the next. So are y'all ready to go down there and make a stink and a fuss? Y'all ready to go make some people uncomfortable? Guys, go hydrate up. Go ahead and form it up. Turn around.
Watch out, there's trouble.
And listen, if y'all are going to start banging signs, let's do it slow. The closer we get, and I don't mean slow and then speed up. Matter of fact, come here. Y'all hear this? Y'all hear that? Does everybody hear that? Right? Y'all hear that? Let that set the tone. So when y'all are ready, don't stop. If you going faster than her, you out of feet. I know some of y'all got an issue staying on feet. I know. You know I love you guys. Huh? Hold on. Baby, hold on. Because this one right here that told me. He just said, you know what? Black lives matter. Even yours. Because you're not black. He's right, y'all. I'm not. My shirt is.
Okay.
My skin is brown. That means this boy don't see color. This boy doesn't see skin color. He very simply sees a person. But it also means he knows his color. Here you go. What you got to say?
What I want to say, the whole world matters, even you guys.
This is why we do what we do, y'all. This is why we do what we do. And for all the kids out here, I hope to God all of y'all come out to the Kidsburg Park event tomorrow at 11. Even if you don't have kids. Yes! Come on, Miss Davis. Yes, the media will be there. And at one of these protests next week, y'all go ahead and get yourselves pretty because the news will be here next week. I've already gotten the word and okay on that, okay? Woo! Is y'all ready? Yeah. Let's get it done.
Can we chant defund CW? No, I just want to know.
Defund CW.
That's spicy.
The blood of the lamb.
That's real
Straight for the neck for that one. Choking on that. I
mean, we could also do defund the police, but if you want to think CW, you can do CW.
I mean, I hear it. Defund CW. Defund CW. Hush, girl. I didn't say what? Let's hold off on that for now. One, out of respect, and two, because of the conversation that I did have with a councilman who's also a Colonial Williamsburg committee member.
We've also got CW employees here, and not all of us are horrible.
Which Colonial Williamsburg representative are you? Who are you?
I'm an apprentice wig maker.
Okay, no, because I'm looking for one.
No. I don't think it's our today. But we're all trying to like do the work. It's just the board member.
No, I know, and I spoke with one of the board members today.
Yeah.
That's who I spoke with. So out of respect, we're not going to do that, but we will chant, defund the police, 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 defund
No shirt or
Hands up! that's what happened in Colonial Williamsburg right now. He protests about George Floyd.
I can't breathe! 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 We can't breathe! We can't breathe! Seize George Floyd! 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 George Floyd! Save them! 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 George Floyd! Say your name! Breonna Taylor! 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 Breonna Taylor! Breonna Taylor! Say your name! 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 Breonna Taylor! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Where do we want it? Now! Where do we want it? Justice! Now!
Look at where we are. Look at where we are, y'all. Look at where we are. Look at where we are. You know they see you coming. So, assist with my drum, my African drum. Got you. Go ahead and set that tone. Don't follow her tone. Do not go faster than her. Let's go. Do not speed up. Keep that same pace. That's the sound of freedom. Don't speed up. Don't speed up. Don't speed up.
Slow it down!
Don't speed up. Don't speed up. Don't speed up. Let them hear you coming. Let them hear you coming.
Don't speed up!
You're gonna tell me how well I can get y'all to work together. It's a team building. Just let me see how well y'all can work together. Don't speed up. Y'all remember drum line? One band, one sound. One band, one sound. One band, one movement, one sound. One movement, one sound. One movement, one sound. Y'all don't have to talk. Y'all look strong. I feel y'all. Y'all behind me. Y'all, I'm getting the strength of y'all. Y'all don't have to run your mouth. Half the chance of saying they should know already. One movement, one sound. One movement, one sound. One movement, one sound. One movement, one sound.
If I can